glad you can join us today. I know it's New Year's, man, but a great way to kick it off.
Amen, amen. Thank you for having me.
No problem. How's your day going so far?
It's beautiful, man. Woke up. It's a new year. Big things happening, so it's all good. What about yourself?
Man, I can't complain, bro. Same like you said, blessed, woke up, man, just ready to take over this year and, continue on the path that, God has for me. So,
For sure,
man. But let's get to it, man. Move on, right?
Yes,
Man,
sir.
it's an amazing song, bro. Amazing song.
Thank you.
And what I love what you've done from it as an artist is that you've also created like a campaign, around about telling other stories. So before we actually get into the record, what made you actually want to create content and share other people's stories around this concept of Move On?
So with the story part, I met with People's Revolt firstly. So Kali, I met with her and I was like, yo, listen, like I really believe in this song. I really know that this can do something to touch people's lives, but I just don't know how to push a little bit more, get people to, want to share more. Uh-huh. So we came together and we started thinking like, what is it that we can do? And her and Shabby came up with the idea of like, what are we moving on from in 2020? And I'm like, okay. So from there, I got with my visual team, Rebellious Society. And from there, we was like, all right, so let's sit down and have some interviews and just tell people about what they're moving on personally, whether it be from toxicity or relationships and with family or my own story. So it worked out well.
So if people haven't watched your story yet, I watched it earlier. Just to kind of get some more insights. People who haven't watched or listened yet, kind of tell us what you're moving on from, 2020 and in general.
So my story was moving on from a relationship that really wasn't fulfilling. It was a 4-year relationship with the mother of my child. It was very hard because, people from outside were like, hey, like, you doing it and all this kind of stuff. But inside, like, how was I feeling? And I kept trying because I thought it was all right. But finally got to a point, it was like, it can't be like this anymore. I can't let my son, live a life that's unfulfilled because he isn't like loving his life and in love with the person that he's with. So that's what I was moving on from, and just not listening to my heart. That was the biggest lesson in my life. Right?
Nah, for sure. So what advice would you give to people to help them move on? Because, not only was 2020 rough, but, people are dealing with real life situations, similar to yours. I was in a 9-year relationship, and that was probably one of the hardest things ever to do, you know what I'm saying? So, my path was, it's been different. Like it took me a way longer to finally be like, okay, I can no longer do this. So what advice do you give to people to kind of give them the first steps to move on?
The first step is get out of your head. Like you have to listen to your heart. You know what it is. And it's more or less, you can't allow fear to take over. It's always, from my perspective, it was like, well, what's going to happen on the other side? We don't know what's going to happen on the other side, but you know what it is right then in that moment. And it's like, take that step of faith on your own self, believe in yourself, believe in what God has in mind for you, and just step in there and everything will work out.
Not for sure, man. So let's talk about the record, Move On. I love the video, you know what I'm saying? Had like that loft vibe. It was real intimate, you know what I'm saying? It really pulled you in, you know what I'm saying, from the moment it came on. Kind of tell us, like, was it difficult, you know what I'm saying, for you to write a record like that, which is so personal to you? Was it difficult, or what kind of mindset were you in when you're writing that record?
When I first initially started writing, like, because it was literally a little bit right after I broke it off. And it was a very weird time because it was scary for me. I was sad because I was thinking about my son. And at the same time, I was very hopeful and just kind of like excited about where the future could lead. So it was like, all right, when I'm sitting here and I'm writing this track, I really don't want to try to find a beat or hit anybody up to try to, make something and I'm singing to it. I went ahead and just started building it from the ground up. All the harmonies and sounds you hear is all me from the bottom up. Okay. And I was just like, I want this to be so intimate and so raw to where I can just speak from the heart. And from there, it just came out. Did I intend it to really come out? Not really, not at first, because I was like, yo, I'm proud of this. This felt good. This was therapeutic, but I'm probably gonna keep this under wraps at least for a while.
Right.
But yeah, it was very. It got to a point. I spoke with my girl, shared it with my team, my girl, and I was just like, she's like, this is really good. This is some of the best stuff you ever did. I'm like, oh no, all right. Well, maybe this can bring on and inspire others. And it's just like me as an artist, like I don't mind performing, I don't mind being vulnerable, but this was like one of the most vulnerable pieces. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and it led on to everything else.
Nah, for sure, man. I mean, vulnerability is relatable, man. So, you know what I'm saying, that'll help, you know, new audience find you, because people will look for, you know, music or any type of art to help them get through situations. So, you know what I'm saying, that's dope, bro. So, well, let's go a little back, man.
Sir.
From Fort Worth, correct?
Monkey Town. Yes, sir.
Fort Worth, man. So have you always been a singer? Like, what led you to singing, and why'd you choose this path, you know what I'm saying, for your future?
Singing has always been in my life. Like, I don't, like, you can look at baby pictures. I got a little remote control in my hand performing. Like, that's just me. And my family, especially on my dad's side, they're the singers of me, of what part of me. Every last one of my aunts and uncles singing in the church. I used to try to harmonize with them and all this kind of stuff on Sunday, you know, chilling with my grandparents' house. And then the writing side came from my mom. She's a poet, and her sisters are dancers. So that's where I kind of got like the performance side of it all. But it was definitely cool to be brought up in such an artistic environment, you know, that fostered that. So.
Sure. What about like the, you know what I'm saying, performance aspects? That's something that you just repeatedly done to get better at, or, you know, so how did you perfect, you know what I'm saying, your live performances and, you know, being ready? It's like, even like doing videos, like, man, like it was basically like a performance, but you're pouring your heart out. So, you know what I'm saying, how you prepare for stuff like that?
Man, in all honesty, it's just doing it. Because one thing, I'm just passionate about performing. Like, I'd love to be able to feel people's energy and translate that and just be able to communicate vibes. And it's just, granted, I haven't always been good, but I always put myself in that, you know, in that environment, in that situation, whether it was talent shows to showcases to choir, auditioning for solos, and just doing whatever I could to be able to, you know, create that opportunity for myself.
Not for sure. Speaking of opportunity, man, one thing I commend you and other artists for is like investing in your future, partnering and collaborating with other individuals. And so, you know, you've got with People's Revolt. Like, what made you want to invest in yourself and actually go, you know what I'm saying, with the public relations firm? You know, a lot of artists try to do everything by themselves, and it kind of, you know, takes away from the music. So what was your thought process and decision on working with a PR firm?
So my decision, the thing is I was already doing a lot, and I kind of, it was getting draining. And on top of that, it's like, I'm not a specialist in all of these realms. I don't care. Like, it's just like, if I'm spreading myself too thin, I can't do what I'm really good at and focus on. So luckily, Kali, you know, she's like, hey, we can make this happen for you. And I'm like, all right, Shabby co-sign. Like, she was like, hey, I can do this, and we believe in you. And it's just like, all right, like, I'm taking you up on it. Like, not only People's Revolt, but there's so many other people that came around, like Tyler Dozier. He was one of the main guys that shot the video. It's like so many pieces kept coming together to be able to lead to me being able to focus more on, you know, being an artist and just fulfilling what I feel God has put before me. So.
Nah, for sure, man. I know this question is kind of cliche, but I really do want people to understand what people are focusing on 2021, because, you know, 2020, we had to pivot a lot. We had to shake things up, you know what I'm saying, maybe switch ideas. So like, what's your plan? What's your goals for, you know what I'm saying, the next, you know, this whole next year?
My goal next year is really like being intentional with regards to the relationships that I build with regards into the industry. And then also just encouraging the community around to really grow and inspire them to just live off of what you really want to live off of. Like, life is too short. We've seen way too many people lose their lives at early ages, and just it's too much. Life is worth living, so live it. And that's what I want to do. I want to embody that through my life and my art.
That's for sure, man. We just interviewed Brandy Vaughn.
I
She's
saw that.
yeah, that was I asked her what's like a quote affirmation she lives by, and that's what she said. She said life is worth living.
Yep.
Man, so
It's true.
that's 2 times I've heard it recently, man. I'm gonna have to put that on one of our motivation posts. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, man, that's amazing, bro. So outside of that, man, tell us a little more about yourself. So if I read it correctly, you used to go by what, C Mays?
Yeah, C Mays.
So tell us who C Mays was compared to Dezmond Walker.
C Mays, man, it was really the baby artist. Really, I knew I had the gift. I loved music. I was rapping and singing. And it was just like, all right, man, like I was really focusing on rapping, trying to elevate because I was around some good rappers. Adrian Peace is one of the best rappers I've ever met. And I'm like, all right, I could do that. And he wasn't really refined. C Mays really wasn't refined. He was very gritty, just very raw.
Okay.
And finally, I talked to my team. I was like, all right, I'm considering changing my name. Like, this isn't R&B-ish, you know. I'm not really a rapper. I could try, I could do it, but this isn't me. And finally, I was like, all right, I'm Desmond Walker. Like, this is official.
Is that your government name?
No, definitely not. None of those are my government names. Nobody go to get that.
Okay. So how'd you come up with Desmond Walker? And I like that you did that because another friend of mine in Atlanta is an artist, and his name is well, it's not his real name, but he goes by Jimmy Walker. And like the story behind him, how he got his name, I'm like, bro, that's kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? So like, how'd you come up with, you know what I'm saying? How can you your name?
All right, so Desmond. All right, C Mays had a Z in it. All right.
Okay.
So I took that Z because it's still a part of me. And my middle name is Desmond, and part of my last name is Walker. I have 2 last names. So I was like, I'm an ode to my grandpa, who I really love and I miss, with Walker, and then add the Z to Desmond to mask my name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Walker came alive, and it was like, man, that's some R&B type stuff. Like,
It
I
is.
can really push that, you know. So
It sounds like R&B artist. It flows, man. But so let's talk about other creators, bro. So I see in the background you got J. Cole. You know what I'm saying? So what is it about Cole that you know that you enjoy him as an artist?
Man, Cole is so poetic, man. And like, I love Kendrick. Like, it's Kendrick and Cole right there. But Cole, to me, like, when I first heard like Born Sinner, like I heard all his other music, but Born Sinner, coming being like a preacher's kid, I was like, I vibe with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this one really hit, and it was so many records that really touched me and just made me feel like I can be that intellect, but don't cross me. You know, like it definitely was really me, and what he does for the community. You know, I'm supporting his entrepreneur endeavors. Like, he's everything I want to do. Like, on Dreamville, like, he's that guy in all aspects. He's my Jay-Z. You know, there's people that really ride with Jay-Z, but J. Cole is my Jay-Z.
Yeah, nah, I feel that and respect that, man, because I resonate with J. Cole so much because, for one, like, he was a military brat, Fayetteville, North Carolina, you know, Fort Bragg's out there. My dad was in the Army, so I was in like Killeen, Texas, Fort Hood.
Whoa.
And like, and his records, man, he would talk about, you know what I'm saying, not being like, you know, a tough gangster, but the same thing, don't test me, he can still hold his own. And he played ball. It's like, man, that's kind of how my life was, you know what I'm saying? And then you talk about his lyrics, oh man, he's next level.
Story from the lyricism, his wordplay, like a genius.
Man, but you definitely touched on being a preacher's kid, you know what I'm saying? How does that work for you creating music? Because do you get any feedback, or do you get any like pullback from, you know what I'm saying, your parents, as far as, you know, even though your music is R&B, it's like it's soulful, you know what I'm saying, but do you get any pullback from them, or what do they kind of tell you?
No, they've been really supportive, even throughout like my whole career. Even when I was rapping and I might say some like explicit things, like I've had some friction like with my dad a little bit, just like debating, like, man, it's just words, like, and I understand words have power, but it's just like the way that I'm utilizing these words, it's not tearing down or anything like that. But outside of that, they've been really supportive, and it's just more or less growing up, the pressure of like, can I do this? And then the church and everybody like judging me and feeling like I was like like in a box, but I let that go years ago. It's just like God gave me this gift and I'm using it, and I'm like, all the glory to Him. So I feel like I'm in my lane.
Facts, man. I'm gonna ask you this question. You can answer it if you want to. If you don't want to,
Come on.
answer, bro. How do you feel about the pressure of church? Because I was, I was raised in the church. My mother always went to church, and then, my life, I had a daughter at a very young age, at 18, 19, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff I chose to do, got in trouble. It wasn't, ideal for, churchgoers, bro. But, at the end of the day, you got to make your own mistakes and live your own life. So how do you deal with the pressures of church, especially being a preacher's kid? And, I don't want to say it's a stereotype, but how you're supposed to act. How do you deal with, those pressures, but still being yourself?
At the end of the day, I got to the point where it's like, what is my heart? God is going to judge my heart. And at the end of the day, no man can judge me. So I just keep that in my mind. And it's just like, if people do judge me, just push it away, because I'm focused. I got my own path. And it's like, I don't need the outside pressure. If there is outside pressure that's holding me back from moving forward, that ain't of God. That's just not what it is.
Hey, that's what's up, man. So another question I like to ask artists. So I'm gonna ask Desmond Walker, not C. Mays. who was the first person to co-sign you as Desmond Walker, right? Like, who was like, all right, man, you have what it takes to go down this R&B path? Who was that first person that kind of gave you that stamp?
In all honesty, it has to go back to C. Mays.
Okay.
The very first person that co-signed me, her name is Natasha Cardozosa. Okay. She's the national renowned poet from Fort Worth. And she had this place called Natty Roots. Okay. Beyond performed there. It's a place that fostered, open mics and just a lot of artists. And with that, she gave me my first feature. And because I sang at my best friend's birthday party. Okay. She was like, you can sing. you should come out to this open mic. Yeah. Go to the open mic, kill it. She's like, we want you to come back for a feature. And I had my whole little set with my little keyboard and everything, singing my little, originals that I've made. And there, she was the one that really instilled in me and co-signed, like, you can do it. And from there, it's just all the pieces started to fall into place. But yeah.
Man, that's what's up. Do you think in 2021 or like in the future, do you feel like open mics and showcases still have the same power that they used to have back in the day, to where you can actually discover artists from?
Oh, absolutely. There's one of my friends, D-Book. She does it virtually. Like, it's still very powerful. Like, she's had celebrities come in. Giveon came in and tapped in because she sends it out to the artist, whoever's singing their song. Giveon tapped in, gave the kid kudos. So it's a good way to still get discovered. It's a good way to foster like performance and just the love of music and support. So absolutely. It might look a little different, we might be masked up, might not be many people in the venues, but it's still gonna go down for sure.
For sure, man. So I like to relate some stuff I do into hooping, right? So if you had to do a tryout, a very important tryout, right? Like, yes, like you be like trying out for the league, but for you, singing in front of somebody, but it had to be a cover. What artist and song would you choose for that tryout?
Ooh, it would either have to be, I think it would be Sir John Redcorn. Okay. I love Sir. Or Neo, So Sick. Like, okay, one of the two. That way I can sing my butt off, just Sir get the sad boy vibes out.
Yeah, hashtag sad boy. That's what's up, bro. So what kind of new artists are you rocking with right now, man? Like you mentioned Giveon earlier, man. Like he's really shining right now.
Crazy. He's crazy. Very unique. I like Masego. I like Sir. Like he's really blowing up. It's so many good artists. I'd have to even throw in her. Like, she's so talented, man. I love her sound, the production, everything. So
man, I've been like a song I listen to almost every day is her and Daniel Caesar, The Best Part.
Boy, yeah. That's a massive vibe.
Yeah, that's definitely a vibe, bro. Like I like that pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Sir. Yes, sir.
I like that pocket. All right, and last but not least, man, I want you to leave our audience one gem, one quote, one affirmation, you know what I'm saying, that you want to motivate people, to inspire them to keep going. Like your record said, move on, whether it's, you know, relationships, life, um, anything, you know what I'm saying, move on to the next level financially, you know what I'm saying, just kind of give them a little gem so they can take this with us from this interview and continue living, you know what I'm saying, their life.
My gem to you guys is, don't hold yourself back. You are your own worst enemy. Moving on, it's all within you. Everything is possible. You just got to do it. It's going to be tough. It ain't ever easy, but it's going to be worth it. So just believe that, keep pushing forward, and watch the blessings and everything that you want from you.
Man, I sure appreciate it, man. We have the guy, Fort Worth-based artist, Dezmond Walker. Leave the people with, you know what I'm saying, where they can find you, the website, Instagram, socials. For sure, make sure you check out the video on YouTube, but leave them where they can find everything else at.
You can find me. My website is DesmondWalker.com. My IG is at Desmond Music. And yeah, it's pretty simple. My music is accessible on all platforms, just Desmond Walker. I got a few tracks available on offer from Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube Music.
Hey, definitely tap in. We at COSIGN Magazine, COSIGN Desmond Walker. Man, you have a blessed day, brother.
As well, man. Appreciate you, guys.
Take it easy, man.
We both been living